Blogging is one way of that you can use to make more money. You can monetize your blog, and you can also, try as much as possible to maintain your brand and grow your brand as a blogger in a country like Kenya. And to further tell us more about the business of blogging, we are joined by James Wamadhai, who is a partner at the Bloggers Association of Kenya. Thank you so much for joining us, James.
Hi Doreen, thank you for having me.
It's World Internet Day. What can you say about it?
It's actually World Safe Internet Day. I think one of the things that that I'd like to say about the internet is that it has sort of like democratized how we consume information and how we get information as well. So for you to access, let's say, information from, the standard website, I mean, all you need is a phone and some bundles. I mean, it's very, very affordable. And something else for people who want to create content online, it's very easy. All you need is to set up a blog. You can even set up a free blog, and start creating content. So I think the internet is a fantastic place, and it has changed this country and the world as a whole. And I think the future. I can't wait for what will happen. Let's say 5 or 10 years from now.
All right, so, some people don't quite understand what blogging is or what people do on their blogs. And while there is an age group that fully understands this business, there's also that age group that tends to think people are wasting time on the internet, writing things that they probably are not going to read, or people are not even going to read. So as blogging is being taken up as a business, what would you say makes a good blog?
Number one, let me define, basically blogging is, creating content on a platform that exists, on the internet, with a view of broadcasting it. So I'm creating content with a view of people, like outside my peers, my sphere of influence, and with a view of them reading. So that could be national, international, and that kind of thing. What makes a good blog? So a good blog is easy on the eyes. So it needs to have very good theme, and then it needs to be content heavy. So it needs to be content needs to be published there on a regular basis. So let's say a blog is like a daily or a weekly newspaper. So there's like regular content. And then also a good blog has accessible language. So for instance, if you're talking, if it's agriculture, or it's a science blog, or it's a tech blog, so the language that you're using needs to be such that my mother, my auntie, myself, or people who don't have that much knowledge can be able to read what you're publishing and understand.
All right.
Yes.
And so it usually starts as a passion for a number of bloggers. They're either interested in travel, some of them are interested in technology, just like you've mentioned. But later on there's writing, but you need to make money out of it. And I know that you have a monetization event that is coming up on the 20th of February. But how do you get to monetize your blog and make sure that at least you're getting some income out of it?
One of the things that you need to do when you're choosing the topic area is that choose a topic area that you know something about. If you're passionate about it, then that is fantastic. I mean, you've seen very good blogs on travel and fashion and such like blogs. I mean, it would be fantastic. It would be fantastic if the area that you're choosing is you're very, very familiar with it. As far as how to go about monetization, right, is there are certain things other than what I said before. There are certain things that that needs to be there. You kind of need to like everything needs to come together in some form of brand that you can that you can sell. So in essence, the the content that you're producing needs to be definable. So for instance, if it's a lifestyle blog, it needs to have lifestyle content. If it's fashion, it needs to have fashion content, and that kind of thing. And then you need to have you know, a Twitter account for the blog, a Facebook account for the blog, and that kind of and those kind of things. And then the next thing you need to do is approach approach agencies or companies directly in the field that you're in. For instance, people like Samsung work with fashion bloggers. They work with tech bloggers. They work with lifestyle bloggers. So if you're in that particular segment, we can approach those people. Safaricom as well work with lifestyle bloggers and influencers. They work with tech blog, depending on what it is. So you could approach them directly, or you could approach the agency. Also, I am a part of Bloggers Association of Kenya, BIC, the Director of Partnerships, and we have a digital agency called Bloggers Media Limited. We also give bloggers business, so you could also approach us to give you business if you're a blogger and you want to monetize. As far as the training on February 20th is concerned, it's at the Nile Lab between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. And one of the things we'll be discussing is how to make money online. And then also there's a question of if brands and companies are impacting negative on bloggers. So in essence, are they taking advantage of bloggers by giving them little cash for what they're worth?
Exactly.
Yes, so we'll be. Yes.
And just to, stick a bit on that, exploitation by brands, I know that sometimes, some bloggers are approached to write about certain products or certain services, but then there's the issue of exploitation. How do these bloggers guard against political exploitation, business exploitation as well?
So the thing is, a blogger is a media house. In some instances, what happens is that sometimes there's a middleman, and this could be an agency or someone within the brand, and then they've realized that they can be able to pay either below rate or not pay at all. So they tell the blogger, "Oh, we'll give you exposure. Our brand is very big, so if you write for us for free, we are able to give you products or things like that." As if they could do the same thing. They could come, for instance, to KTN and tell you, let's give you exposure, and then you can advertise these products for us for free. So I think it's an exploitation curve that needs to end. Also, people need to know their value. For instance, bloggers need to know their value. So for instance, when you're creating content, what sort of expenses are you incurring? So your rate card needs to be informed by the amount of resources, time or otherwise, that you're putting into the process.
So bloggers actually do have rate cards in this case when they're going to approach different brands. I think that is something that you probably need to shed some more light on. What do the rate cards look like?
For a blogger, you monetize your brand in 3 ways. One of them is display banners, and then 2, there's sponsored content, and then 3, there's social media. There's social media marketing.
Yes.
So now, for display banners, they range between 50,000 to 200,000 a month. It could be higher depending on the blog. There are blogs which are doing very, very well. Also, for sponsored content, it's 15,000 single article, between 15,000 to about 200,000. Some people offer,
yes,
more things. And then the social media marketing, it costs about 50,000 for about 30 social media updates. Between 50,000 to about 150,000.
Between 50,000 and 150,000. This is quite some interesting insights, I think, for people who take this as a very casual business here. I think they need to take note of this, especially when it comes to the rate carding and how to go about this. But I think also we have a lot of virgin bloggers in this case, people who are unaware of the content that they're putting online. And so many times a number of bloggers have been caught unawares, especially by the authorities regarding Section 29 of the Kenya Information and Communication Act of 2009. Do you want to say something about regulation of blogging?
The bloggers who have found themselves in trouble, I think it's pretty unfortunate, but it has mostly been because they've ruffled, powerful feathers. They stepped on very powerful toes, and those toes are connected to people who are very, who have immense influence, and that's why they've gotten themselves into trouble. I feel that the law should be applied equally. By that I mean, people should, get into trouble because they've done something wrong, and not because they have spoken about things, that are, that touch on, say, the military or, or someone powerful. So that is, when you look at most of these cases, that is the common thread. Powerful people. So I feel that the reason why that is happening is because they, in essence, they're being intimidated, and other people like them are being shown, if you do this, this is what will happen to you. I feel that the law needs to be applied equally, and then it needs to be applied very, very well, because especially that Kicker Act, that section for misuse of telecommunications equipment, I feel it is being misused, and in some cases, some of these cases are civil cases that are being made into criminal cases. For instance, the case of Waime Mburu. Yes. He was arrested because he had written about a certain farm. A certain farm in Mombasa that is connected to the governor. There's also the case of Mbuvi Kasina, who talked about the Kitui South MP, and then now he got himself into trouble. But it's basically criminalization, which is basically civil matters.